Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still fighting this short-term resistance, but we are just moments away from seeing a massive bullish cross in the daily MACD. But that is not all, because later in this video, I'll be going over some on-chain analysis that you need to be paying attention to, and the Bitcoin chart that cored the bottom for this correction. All of that and more in this video, so definitely make sure you're watching all the way to the end of this video so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And if that sounds good to you, just before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video down below, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more update videos just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame, and as I mentioned in yesterday's Bitcoin update video, we have two main points of resistance right here. Of course, we have this horizontal range of resistance ranging in between 58,000 and 60,000 US dollars, and we have this descending line of resistance right here that we've found multiple rejections all the way along this correction so far, and right now this is coming in at just above 58,000, so in the middle of that price range approximately. So technically speaking, Bitcoin still remains in a short-term downtrend while we're still below these points of resistance. But the moment Bitcoin starts breaking back above these points of resistance, really I'd like to see it break above 60,000 to really start confirming that the recovery is taking place. But considering the uptrends that we've seen in the 4-hour RSI over the past 2 weeks approximately, while the price action has been trending to the downside, this is more of a bullish divergence than it is bearish. I explained in more detail why that's the case in yesterday's Bitcoin update video, so if you missed that, definitely check it out. But yeah, basically this uptrend in the 4-hour RSI suggests that we could be due for a breakout sometime soon, for as long as the RSI remains in this short-term uptrend. But one thing to keep in mind is the 4-hour MACD is right now getting really close to a bearish cross just in the 4-hour MACD. And taking a look at the last few times that Bitcoin has seen a bearish cross in the 4-hour MACD, that has basically led into just a small pullback in the immediate short term, nothing too crazy. And I want to make it clear that at the time of filming this video, right now we have not confirmed the bearish cross, we're just getting really close. And if this were to play out like any of these previous bearish crosses, then once again we could be due for just a small rejection here before then we break out later on. And once again, that's simply based on all of these previous bearish crosses that we've seen recently on the 4-hour chart. And that would also play into this fractal that we're still looking at on the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. And I covered this Bitcoin fractal in my last Bitcoin update video that I posted yesterday on the channel. So after you finish watching this video, definitely make sure you're watching my last Bitcoin update video. And also a small rejection like that in the immediate short term could possibly play into the idea of the fact that we could be forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern. But as of right now, that pattern is not confirmed. It's just one that's potentially forming and one to look out for. So what are my price targets for Bitcoin? Well, if we do see a bit of a rejection here, we have some major supports coming in at around 55.8k approximately. And anything lower than that, we've got huge supports towards 53,500 as we discovered right here. But I wouldn't necessarily be betting on those lower prices, as I will discuss later in this video. And as for some price targets to the upside, I'll be bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from the all-time high down to this swing low. What we can see here is, first of all, the 38.2% Fibonacci level, the second most important Fibonacci level, is coming in at around 59,500 US dollars, right in this range of resistance, where Bitcoin has previously found multiple rejections. So this is just another indicator on the chart that backs up all of that technical analysis that I just showed you. But anything above that, the most important Fibonacci level is, of course, the golden pocket, and that is coming in at around 63,000 up towards around 63,500. So in around that $63,000 price range just there, that would be my first major price target to the upside once we can finally start cracking above 60,000. And this is also backed up with the VPVR indicator showing a lot of resistance coming in between that whole price range right there. And then obviously anything above the golden pocket, after we start getting above around 64,000, we do have a small amount of resistance coming in at the 78.6% Fibonacci level, which is coming in at around 66,000 US dollars. But anything above 66k, I'll be looking towards the all-time high itself as the final point of resistance before we can finally start looking at new all-time highs for Bitcoin. And the current all-time high for Bitcoin is coming in at around 69,000 US dollars. So those are my price targets and important levels to pay attention to in the immediate short term for Bitcoin moving forward. And zooming out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin, right now what we can see in the daily MACD is that we're getting extremely close to a bullish cross. I mentioned yesterday on the channel that we're possibly around 2 days away from a bullish cross. And so right now, for as long as the Bitcoin price remains at around these sort of levels, then it is very likely that we're around a day away from a bullish cross in the daily MACD. But at the moment, that has not been confirmed just yet. So of course, it's better to wait for confirmation because, for example, if we see a rejection from this resistance just here, then that can further delay the bullish cross. But basically, as soon as we get the bullish cross in the daily MACD, that is a major bullish sign showing us that we are bottoming out for this correction and we are preparing for the next major leg to the upside, just like what we saw at the end of September and just like what we saw at the end of July. And another thing that I talked about yesterday on the channel was, of course, the daily RSI, coming all the way down to these lower values that we've previously reached these major market bottoms. And so at the moment, the daily RSI has a lot more room to the upside compared to the room that we have left to the downside. And so as of right now, my personal Bitcoin strategy is simply to be dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin at around the current prices, because unlike Ethereum, Bitcoin on the other hand is yet to see that major breakout to the upside. So there's still some big opportunity here moving forward, but of course that's not financial advice, that's just telling you my personal Bitcoin strategy and what I'm seeing on the charts. Now jumping into some on-chain analysis for Bitcoin. This is just to give you a quick update on the Bitcoin all exchanges reserve. So basically this black line just here shows us the Bitcoin price on the daily time frame, but this purple line right here shows us the total amount of Bitcoin sitting on exchanges. And basically all you need to know is if this purple line is trending to the downside, then that is a bullish sign for the Bitcoin price. But the moment that this purple line starts trending to the upside again, that is a signal that we could be due for a major crash to the downside. And often this can act as a leading indicator, as we discovered back in April and May this year. But as of right now, the Bitcoin balance across all of these exchanges is absolutely crashing to the downside, the most that we've seen since around the end of September. So this right here, this is preparing Bitcoin for a huge move to the upside over the coming months. And for the beginners out there, the reason why this is more bullish for Bitcoin than it is bearish is simply because if there's less Bitcoin on exchanges, that means there's less Bitcoin that can be easily sold on the exchange, which means two things. That means less selling pressure, and that also means it's harder to buy into Bitcoin because there's less and less Bitcoin going around as more and more Bitcoin is getting withdrawn from exchanges. So if the demand for Bitcoin simply stays the same while the circulating supply of Bitcoin on exchanges is getting smaller and smaller, of course it is basic supply and demand economics that says that that is bullish for the Bitcoin price. And if this purple line just here, the Bitcoin all exchanges reserve, continues to drop to the downside like the trends that it's been in recently, then soon enough Bitcoin is going to enter a supply shock, which is basically a fancy term for just running out of Bitcoin. And once that begins to happen, that's when people realize the true scarcity of Bitcoin, and then FOMO starts to kick in, which increases demand while the circulating supply continues to decrease, which absolutely skyrockets the Bitcoin price. Now going back to the Bitcoin to US dollar charts on the 4-hour time frame, taking a look at this chart just here that basically caught the bottom for this correction. I've been covering this chart for a while now on the channel. The subscribers will already know about this chart, but for the new viewers on the channel, this chart is basically the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index visualized on the Bitcoin chart. And just zooming out further on this chart, these green zones just here were the times where the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index was sitting in extreme fear. And so what we know from Bitcoin's past is anytime we're sitting in extreme fear, according to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, that is an amazing buying opportunity because that usually comes in confluence with major market bottoms. If you simply dollar cost average into Bitcoin while we were sitting in extreme fear towards the middle of this year, you would have basically bought the bottom of this huge crash to the downside and made some amazing profits in the coming months, same as the September correction. We finally hit extreme fear right at the end of that correction when we were bottoming out, getting ready for the next major move to the upside, and we actually just recently had one single day where we hit extreme fear, and of course that was coming in confluence with the market bottom, at least so far, for this correction. So this just goes to show how accurate this indicator is. And personally, I have made a lot of money in the crypto market by simply accumulating Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other cryptos during the times where we're sitting in extreme fear, and even during the times where we're simply just sitting in fear, and then taking a little bit of profits off the table when we start hitting greed and extreme greed. And so as of right now, even though we're not in extreme fear, we're still sitting in fear, which generally speaking means that we are still in a pretty decent buying opportunity. But of course, that's not financial advice. That's just telling you what this indicator means and what it's done for Bitcoin throughout Bitcoin's history. And if you want to get extra crypto content throughout the day, like this information right here, or if you simply want to stay up to date in the markets at all times, definitely make sure you're following me over on my Twitter. And the link to my official Twitter account is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment, and it is completely for free to go and check that out. And if you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. I put a lot of time and effort into these videos each and every day to try and help you make money in the crypto markets. And all I really ask in return is for you to just simply hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. And honestly, I do appreciate all of your support. And before you click off, make sure you're checking out one of these uploads if you haven't already, because these videos can potentially help you make more money in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.